Hey guys, welcome back to Vertical Momentum. I'm your host, Richard Kaufman, also known as the Comeback Coach. Guys, if you ever wanted to learn how to be your own bank, this is your episode. My brother Joseph's going to be dropping some serious knowledge bombs. Guys, and I also want to give a thank you to Exposure Maven for putting this together. Without you guys, we would not be together. And I just got to do some housekeeping. I want to thank Monster Energy for keeping me energized all day long today. And guys, my new swag just dropped today. So guys, if you love swag, check it out. Guys, this gentleman is one of my favorite people of all time. And we're going to be talking about business. We're going to be talking about how to take care of your family personally, financially, in every way possible. And like I said, his book is on my bedstand. I read it at least once or twice a week because I love learning how to be my own bank, especially coming from bankruptcy at one point to now having an 835 credit score. And it's mostly because of this book that this gentleman wrote. Joseph, my brother, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Richard.
Bro, I'm so grateful and I'm humbled that we finally got a chance to do this. So let me ask the first question because if I don't answer, I forget. So I have a traumatic brain injury. Your life hasn't always been sunshine, rainbows, skittles, and unicorns. So what is your definition of resiliency?
Resiliency is you're going to get a choice in life, right? I watched my father fall 3 stories off a ladder, lose a 25-year, $25 million construction company, JV Lombardi Builders. I watched my mother die 1 month right before my son was born, my first child. I have three, from cirrhosis of the liver at 52 years old, and I was her only kin. And then I watched my grandmother, who raised me because my parents got divorced at 4, and my dad was in the company. So I watched my grandmother have a stroke, led to dementia. And she was in a nursing home for over 7 years, lost $4.2 million that took my grandfather 40 years to build. When he died, went to her, and then went to her. The state of Connecticut stole it. It's resiliency is you have a choice. You have a choice to be the victim. Boo-hoo. There's always a way for you to be the victim, right? Or you could take what life, God has given you, and you can say, all right, this is a test. And I'm going to work through, grind, do what I have to do to overcome it, learn from it, and help other people from not having that same mistake, right? So you have two choices. It's really that simple. Resiliency is a choice to say, I am not a victim. And whatever happened to me in my past and that I had to endure is strength that I now have moving forward. If you lived your life with no problems whatsoever, you are so weak because you never had to rip a muscle to build it to go stronger, right? If you want to get big muscles, you got to go to the gym and you got to rip your freaking arm muscles, your leg muscles, and stomach muscles up so that they can grow stronger. It's the same thing when you're going through emotional, physical, mental, spiritual, or financial hardships. It makes you hardened and stronger so that A, you learn from your lessons, and B, when the next problem comes up, you're more equipped to handle it.
And I like what you mentioned because that's why these new shirts come out is because I win, and that means I'm no longer a victim. I'm a victor I'm a victor of my present and my future. I'm no longer a victim of my past, and that's why I came out with these shirts. So let's hop in the Wayback Machine. Let's hop in the DeLorean. Let's go back. Tell us a little bit about where you come from, growing up in the CONN with one of the greatest college basketball teams all time, UConn. So take us back to Joseph when Joseph was a youngin', and how did you become the man that you are today?
Yeah, I mean, I was born in Bridgeport. Parents moved to Florida, so I actually have a Florida social because back in the '80s, it's not where you got it from the hospital. You got it when you applied for it. Lived in Clearwater. Parents got divorced. Drove up in a van with $500, a blanket, and a TV. Stayed in the attic with no running water. Ate noodles and eggs with with ketchup, and hamburger helper with no hamburger meat. Grew up extremely impoverished. Had the same Tasmanian devil shirt with a hole in it. Must have wore it 4 times a week. Had shoes that were too small. My feet were like, claws, because my dad couldn't afford shoes. It really, when you're a kid, you don't really understand it. Whatever your environment is, your environment, you take it, it is what it is. Then my grandmother, gave my dad a loan in the mid 90s for JV Lombardi Builders to really grow. And then we moved to Fairfield. And you would think, oh, that's a really nice town. But I was the poor fat kid. So I was bullied every day, made fun of every day. So that just kept giving me harder skin. And then high school, I finally lost weight. I joined the track team. I was running 10 miles a day. I was playing basketball on the football team. And then my dad falls 3 stories off a ladder. And at this point, my dad had another child, my sister, Lauren. She was born 2 pounds, 7 ounces with alcohol syndrome. Her ex-stepmom almost killed her. And we found out after the divorce, we found all the receipts for vanilla extract and Listerine because she couldn't bring in real alcohol into the house because my dad's been in AA since 1991. So, now I'm 15. My dad's crippled. My ex-stepmom's in a rehab center, and I have this my sister that I had to take care of. So I had to drop out of football, track, and basketball. I started working at a childcare called right on basically right down my street, and that really affected my life. But you know what? I was up for the challenge. I couldn't say anything because DCF would have got involved that there's no adults in the house, taking care of me, who was a minor, or my sister, who was just a year and a half old. So, everything that happens in your life is for a reason. The more stuff that God throws at you, the more stuff the devil throws at you, the more stuff you overcome and don't make excuses, the stronger you're going to be to achieve the next dream, goal, move you need to make in your life to accomplish whatever it is you want to accomplish, right? My biggest goal is to grow Ironhawk Financial to a national brand, to educate people on different IRS codes, that the 401k system, the IRA system is complete BS. It's set up for Wall Street to take half your money in fees and the government take half your money when you need it later in taxes. So, following what the ultra wealthy do is you don't have to be ultra wealthy to do it. Right. I have clients who do $500 a month. I have clients who do $5 million a month. It has to do with using different strategies that aren't mainstream, because how are we as a country right now? Everything that the government gives us is just destructive towards our happiness, towards our light, towards our goals. So you have to find alternatives, whether it's in finance, whether it's, Bible study, whether it's a personal trainer, whether it's a therapist, which I have all of those. You have to find things to make yourself better in all areas of your life. And a lot of people think like, oh, I just need to work on money. Well, no, I was making millions of dollars a year and I was broke because I was gambling. I'm on all the DraftKings commercials in the country. I've played baseball in Boston Field. I played basketball on Celtics court. I've hung out with Kevin Hart. I've knocked out the CEO of DraftKings in a poker tournament before. I've been to finals games, front row, Super Bowls, front row, like you name it. The lifestyle was awesome and crazy. But when I realized that all my time was putting towards my financial self and health, I wasn't growing my spiritual, I wasn't growing my physical, my mental, and my emotional health. So when you think of money, most people think, oh, if I just had more, I'd be fine. Well, most likely you wouldn't, because look at people that win the lottery. Look at people that get, $50 million contracts, like sports athletes or celebrities or artists, and they're broke. Not only are they broke, they're bankrupt, which means they lost the tens of millions of dollars that they had, and then they borrowed another tens of millions and lost that. So you have to understand that having money has really little to do with how much money you have. It just has to do with what you feel money is in your life. Is it a fun coupon like the Wolf of Wall Street, or is it a building tool to invest in yourself, your health, your environment, like your home? Make sure your home is nice and what you want it to be. And are you investing in your future? Right? Do you have retirement? Do you have life insurance? Do you have long-term care? Do you have a will? Do you have a trust? Do you have disability insurance? Those are the things that people miss because it's not sexy. It's not fun. It's not something you talk about at the water cooler or on a Saturday night at your kid's football game. I just bought a life insurance policy, right? You're talking about, oh, crypto. It's a casino. What I did. It's our culture is set up for us to care about our present self and hurt or not give a crap about our future self.
Yeah, and and I love that you talk about, the shiny object syndrome. Everybody wants to talk about, oh, crypto, and a couple years ago it was NFTs. Instead of if you would have put that same money away and invested it in yourself or in your own business, you'd have something. Where most people that owned NFTs, they get nothing, they have nothing, and a lot of people that were in crypto, the majority of them lost their asses. But if they would have just used some common sense, and that's what we're going to talk about today. And I also want to talk about, I believe everybody should have a side hustle. I don't care who you are. I think everybody should have a side hustle. And for me, I didn't know about it until my business coach, Joe Nicasio, I'm actually having a master class with him tomorrow. I didn't realize how many benefits I can get instead of just having an LLC, to spend a little bit more money and to actually have a corporation. And to where now almost everything I own is owned by the corporation, and I don't pay taxes on mostly everything because the corporation pays for it all. And a lot of it I don't have to pay taxes on it. So talk to us about how important because I love when Trump said a couple years ago, I like not having to pay taxes. And before we were coming on the show, I did some research. 10 of the top corporations in this world paid zero taxes last year. And we're talking Amazon, we're talking Tesla, we're talking some of these major companies paid zero taxes last year. So if they can do it, we can do it and learn how to become our own bank, right?
Absolutely. So, I
So,
mean, in regards, go on.
no, go ahead.
I was going to say, in regards to being your own bank, right? It all comes down to an IRS code that's embedded into the death benefit of a permanent life insurance policy.
Yeah.
That IRS code is called Section 7702. Easily Googleable, easily researchable. It allows my clients to dump money that they were putting in their 401ks, their IRAs, their SEP, Simples, pension, deferred comp, 457s, 403bs, TSPs. The money that they were putting in there, they now put into an overfunded index universal life policy with the right carrier, the right structure, with the right riders, with the right build. So 80% of life insurance products are garbage. So you have to make sure that if you were to do this, you would somebody who has been doing it for a very long time, somebody who is a master broker, can shop all the carriers to make sure that they're not selling you a high commissionable type of strategy, because there's a bad name in our industry of people taking advantage of other people's ignorance for profit. So you have to make sure you're dealing with somebody like myself, who's 5-star rated on Google, who's A+ rated on the Better Business Bureau, who's a master broker, has been doing it for 21 years, who has thousands of clients, billions of dollars with a B of protection and rollovers in my career. Somebody who's been featured on major publications, International Business Times, Business Insider, Market Insider, The Daily Caller, the cover of the who's who in building and construction, the cover of the top 40 advisors in the country under 40 years old for finance, or 100 INC magazine. That is where you need to talk to somebody who actually has a foundation and has something to lose by screwing you. So you have to make sure that you're dealing with someone who knows what they're doing, has a reputation, and their reputation is way more valuable than the little bit of commission they're going to make selling you a product. Because then you're going to be working with somebody who's going to do the right thing. You're going to be working with somebody who has integrity, somebody that wants to actually help you, who doesn't just want to maximize his profit off of you. And if it fails in 20 years, who cares? You have to make sure it's built right. You have to make sure it's at the right carrier. You have to make sure you have the right riders. You have to make sure you're at the right company. There's a lot that goes into it, because there's some really, really good strategies, Like my strategy's been averaging 14.93% tax-free compounding, documented for 20 years by a 176-year-old A+ rated mutual company. So you have to make sure it's mutual. You have to make sure it's an A+ rated carrier, and you have to make sure it's built properly.
But now also, I think what you're talking about is a person has to do their due diligence. Like for me,
Yes.
3 years ago, I wanted a brand new car. I didn't need it. My car was working perfectly. So I went down to the dealership and I handed them a piece of paper. It had my credit score, which is an 834. It had the price that I want to pay. And down below, it had 0 down payments. And I showed him the car I wanted. I handed him the piece of paper. He says, well, I don't think I can do that. I picked up the piece of paper, turned around, went to walk away. He's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I don't need your car. If I'm walking around with an 834 credit score and I'm making 6 figures, I can go anywhere to buy this car. He's like, well, let's sit down. Let's do the paperwork. So, but I had to leverage because I knew what my credit score was. I knew from doing the due diligence how much my payment I wanted should be. And I didn't want to put any money down. But because I did my due diligence, I was able to do that. So I think in order for you to get to work with somebody like yourself, I'd have to do my due diligence. And I would talk to some people that have worked with you in the past. Is that what you're talking about? Is doing your due diligence before you work with somebody?
Absolutely. You have to make sure where they're coming from. What is their why? Why are they in this business? Is to make a boatload of money? Or in this business actually help people, make a difference, right? So there's a lot that goes into trusting somebody with your life savings, making sure that, hey, if I roll over my IRA or 401k with you into a strategy where I can't lose, been averaging over 13% compounding, documented for the last 10 years, I want to make sure that, I'm in the right carrier, the right company, the right product. I mean, there's thousands of different strategies and companies and products out there. And you have to make sure the one that you're working with is in your best interest, not your advisor's best interest, to make the most commission.
Okay, so let's go back. Let's hop back a little bit. If your grandmother gave you the money to start your own construction company, what would you have done differently to make sure that your family was taken care of while the construction company was doing well?
Yeah, I mean, number one is you have to build a strong financial foundation. So you need permanent life insurance, you need disability insurance, income. You need to have some long-term care, which can be built in, and a combination of the IUL if it's at the right carrier. You got to have a financial foundation. You got to have a bank. You got to have liquidity. So what's the bloodline to a bank or to a company? The bloodline to a company is cash. Liquidity, ability to buy equipment, ability to buy marketing, ability to cover a deadbeat who doesn't pay you, the ability to sue of a homeowner who stuck you. All that is you can't have in a 401k, an IRA, a simple pension, deferred comp. What you're doing is you're handcuffing those dollars for decades. And you're allowing Wall Street to come in with 12B1 fee, Class A share fund fee, money manager fee, annual account fee, mutual fund expense fee, assets under management fee, to take all your money with fees, every contribution you put in, plus the value of your account every year as it's increasing. Then you have to deal with the government when you're in retirement, taking federal tax, state tax, FICA, Medicare, unemployment, Social Security tax, or over half your monies get stolen by government entities. So you have to, when we do this plan, you got to make sure you have a strong foundation. If my dad had disability insurance, he wouldn't be sitting broke in a nursing home making $60 a month. That's all he gets from his Social Security, his pensions, everything. He gets $60 a month to be thrown in jail, also known as a nursing home. So making sure that you stay in your home, you celebrate Christmas, birthdays, Thanksgiving, Easters with the people that you love, surrounded by the people that you love. As much as they love you, they don't want to go to a nursing home. I don't want to go to jail to see my dad in a room with a stranger I don't know who's blaring Mets games or Jesus Christ, documentaries at decimals. I can't even talk to my own dad. when I visit them. So there's all these things that the American people they don't really look at, and they think, oh, I'm going to be fine, I'm going to live forever, and then it's like, is your grandparents alive? Well, no. How's your parents doing? They're struggling or dead. Then why do you think it's not going to happen to you? So I don't want to think about it. I want to stay in my little bubble of ignorance, and it's not going to happen to me. And it's like, well, you could do that, but there's one thing you cannot control, and that's time's going to go by, and we are all going to die at one point. So you have to make sure, not only if you have money, that you protect yourself from estate taxes. Because can you imagine, you build up, you work your butt off 12-hour days like I'm doing every day, and then at the end of your life, you survive not dying, you survive not getting disabled, you need care, but you have, a long-term care solution, and then you die with over, right now I think it's dropping to $14 million of net worth. It's dropping to 7. And then now the government is taking 52% of every dollar over 7 million. So if you save up and build $17 million net worth by the time you're 90, which isn't hard to do with inflation, the federal government's going to steal $5.2 million from you. Can you imagine, after all the taxes you paid, state, FICA, Medicare, unemployment, all the income taxes you paid, all the corporate taxes you paid, all the capital gains taxes you paid, then they're going to steal your money so you can't leave it to the people you love most, your children, your grandchildren. So, I mean, you have to make sure that you protect yourself from the most evil entity we have to deal with here as United States citizens, and that's our U.S. government.
All right. So, and this really hits home for me, especially the long-term care insurance. My dad passed away 3 years ago. My mother's in a nursing home right now. Matter of fact, what we're talking, she's about to go on Social Security, and she'll have about $60 a month to spend. But me and my wife, we would sit down and talk to him about getting, life insurance, long-term care, and oh, Jesus is going to take care of me. God's going to take care of me. Well, I'm the one that's trying to take care of you, trying to make sure that you can have enough money to buy Depends, because when you go on Medicaid, you're going to give them what they want to give you. So talk about how important life insurance and long-term care insurance is, because for me, I didn't know about all this until I'm going through what I'm going through now.
Yeah, I mean, we come into this world as a baby, and as long as you don't prematurely die, you go out of this world as a baby, meaning you need somebody else to take care of you, you need somebody else to prepare your food, you need somebody else to dress you, you need somebody else to bathe you. So when that time comes, if you're lucky enough to live that long, when that time comes, do you have a plan? And if you fail to plan, your plan's to fail. And when you are working with $15, $20 an hour nursing home workers who are overworked and underpaid, they have their own problems, right? They have family issues. Most of them aren't high income. They don't have the luxuries and the stress-free life that the wealthy have. Do you really want to not be able to hire or fire the people that care for you? Do you really not want to have any say on what you're fed? Do you really want to have no say on what you wear? Like you said, I do the same thing with my dad with the Depends, because he doesn't like the nursing home cheap ones that they give him. So what about a cell phone? Who's going to pay for that? What about a laptop? Who's going to pay for that? What about a TV? Who's going to pay for that? So your $60 a month isn't going to pay for that. So you have to make sure that you have a plan in place so you can die in peace, surrounded by the people that you love, right? It's a very fun topic to talk about, right? But that's the thing you have to do.
It's a real
thing. It is
what
it is. Yeah, it is what it is. So you have to make sure you have that. But the good news is while you're using my strategy, you could leverage your own money. You can lean your money out of your bank. Can you imagine having $500,000 in a 401k? You need $400,000 to buy a rental property. You can lean the $400,000 and still earn interest on it. Well, that would be awesome, but you can't do that in a 401k. But you can do that inside of an index universal life policy. It's called non-direct recognition. They don't directly recognize the lien or the loan that you pull out of the plan. So by doing that, what you're effectively doing is you're earning 2 streams of income on $1. Richard was very happy to go to a car dealership, say, I have a high credit score, give me a 0% loan. Can you imagine going to a car dealership and say, I want a negative 9% interest rate loan, meaning you're going to pay me to borrow the money to buy the car. What? So my strategy saves my clients millions of dollars in taxes over their life. It saves my clients hundreds of thousands of dollars of interest because you are the bank. Think about somebody like Elon Musk, right? And let's say he needs $100 million to build a SpaceX rocket. Okay. He has two options to do that. He can do what the average American does, which is to sell $200 million of Tesla stock, pay the government $100 million in taxes, lose out on $200 million of future profit on that said Tesla stock because he sold it, net the 100 million, buy the rocket, double his money, buy back 100 million of Tesla stock. Option two, what he does and what all my clients do is, if let's say they need, again, I'm being exaggerating with the value. You can imagine if it's 30 grand for a car for your kid, but he takes he needs $100 million. He takes $100 million of Tesla stock, brings it to a bank, gets a collateralized loan, and as you know, loans are tax free. He gets a check for $100 million, tax free, still owns the Tesla stock and the future profit on that said asset, buys the SpaceX rocket, doubles his money, pays off the bank the loan, and he was able to make money on the rocket. He was able to make money on the loan while he was taking it, and he paid zero taxes doing it. Do you see why the rich stay rich and the broke stay broke? Because the poor doesn't know any of these strategies. They don't know that there's ways where you can literally put $1 in something, have it grow tax free, no 59.5-year rule, no 10% penalty, no state tax, FICA, Medicare, unemployment, sue proof, divorce proof in most states. Can't lose using option contracts, derivatives, calls, and having an average rate of return of 14.93% tax-free compounding documented for the last 20 years. So when you understand what the rich do to stay rich and what the middle class does to barely survive and how the poor stays poor, it's because of those tweaks they do, their relationship with money, the ability for them to invest money long term and care about their future self, because nobody's going to care about your future self but you, and making sure that you have a plan in place to succeed. It's pretty simple. It's very hard for the average person to wrap their head around to say, no, the government is my friend. Like, besides religion, governments have killed the most people in the entire world in history. And you're going to trust them with your retirement? The same people that send tens of billions of dollars overseas and give our tax money to other countries. The same people that have the Paris Accord, where we put $1 trillion of our tax dollars there to environmentally help people, where it's just being stolen, when those could be going to our education, could be going into our roads, could be going into the growth of poor to middle class people to uplift them. But instead, they just send it into all these fake programs and steal it all. And the government's your friend when they're enslaving you and stealing all your money. Like, it just baffles me, the ignorance of people, because they watch mainstream media and think that the stranger on TV is their friend when they're reading a teleprompter to program you to be a good slave.
And I agree. But, since I've been doing this now for 6 years, I've interviewed plenty of millionaires and billionaires, and a lot of them tell me, I don't own anything. I have a friend. He's got a 50 or 60-foot yacht. He's like, I don't own it. My corporation owns it. I don't own my house. I don't own my business. My corporation owns it. So I don't own any of this. And it seems like the people that are the average Joe, we're so focused on owning things, where the rich people, the wealthy, they don't want to own anything. They want to have their corporations own it. So how important is that mindset? Because like me, I'd rather drive a car that's in good condition with no car payment than to drive a car that I'm going to make another company rich by driving that car.
Yeah, I mean, owning your corporation is very important. I own several. I have several LLCs. I have several trusts. There's ways that you can leverage different IRS codes, tax strategies, owner strategies, where literally, like, I pay less tax than somebody working at McDonald's, and I make 7 figures a year. So there's ways where you can build strategy. All 3 of my kids are on payroll. That's a $17,000 each kid. That's $50,000 I don't have to pay tax on. There's all these different strategies that you can use. I have a radio show called Money Talk with Ironhawk. I had an episode called Great Minds Think Alike, where I brought on a licensed CPA, and she just laid it all out. And there's definitely strategies and ways where you can learn how to beat the government, because it's you versus the government. It's not you with the government. Okay. Because if the government called you and said, hey, do you want to pay extra taxes? What would be the poll out of 100,000 people that would say, yes, I would love to pay extra taxes? Probably be less than 1%, because there's dumb people out there. So if you understand that, and you understand the game, and the goal of Monopoly is not to land on luxury tax. If you ever played Monopoly and you were like, luxury tax, come on, baby, give me a 3, then you didn't know how to play the rules of the game to win. So you have to understand that there's things in place. There's people who know what the heck they're talking about. There's people that have done it for decades with success, where they have thousands of happy clients, that you can do this. It's only a matter of fact, is it important to you? But the unfortunate thing of our society, even your own health isn't important to most people. Having the ability to eat junk food and have no consequences for your action later, the ability to throw money on credit cards that you really don't have any means to pay for because you're already tight with your budget. These are the things that the average Americans do, because we are trained and brainwashed to be what? Miserable, anxious, depressed, and we're looking for quick hits, quick highs, whether it's drugs, whether it's cigarettes, whether it's alcohol, whether it's gambling, whether it's sex. We look for quick highs because our culture is structured to bring us down and take our light out. That's why they took God out of everything, God out of schools, God out of everything. And how has the country really been going out since they took God out? They're coming after the Constitution, which people don't even know how to spell Constitution, let alone what the hell it says. Yep. And so if you understand what's going on, the devil is winning at every area and facet of our lives. And we're just standing there on our social media accounts and watching our baseball and football and basketball games, thinking everything's okay, while the frog is getting boiled. They're turning up the heat. How do you cook a frog in a pot of water? If you turn the heat up all the way, the frog will just jump out. So you just slightly turn up the heat, and the frog, by the time realizes it's boiling, he's already dead. And that's what they're doing to the American people. And you have to fight back personally, and ideally stop being brainwashed about segregation on religion, on monetary, on class, on sports teams, on gender, on geopolitics. They literally separate us in every single way they can, because they realize that we have the power. Why would they spend so much time, energy, and money brainwashing us and tricking us and deceiving us and stealing from us if what we had wasn't valuable? So there's so much that's going on in our world today besides money. And yes, I can solve your money issues pretty easily, but it's deeper than that. And there's a lot of work that we have to do as humans and as U.S. citizens to try to combat the struggle, the pain that is being laid on us every single day of our lives.
And I totally agree. And I just want to bring up this point that you were talking about earlier. When I had the writers of Rich Dad, Poor Dad come on, they said I would gladly pay my accountant way more. I would gladly pay my attorneys way more, because I know what I'm going to get by paying more. But then you get the average person who, hey, I'm going to get my taxes done by H&R Block. Well, guess what? You're going to get what you pay for. So I think that's really important. But something I think, because personal finance is really, it's an emotional thing. And like when I was growing up, the only things I ever heard about money is we can't afford it. Or so I believe that a lot of us grew up with limited beliefs, belief mindsets, and I believe that it's your BS that's actually holding you back. Like for me, I believe in my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. I'm not afraid to say it. And if my Father owns it all, so do I. I have the right. I have the rights to own everything because He's my Father. He owns it. He just lets me borrow it all. So talk to us how important mindset is in personal finance and in business.
Oh my God, it's everything. When you live in scarcity, you get scarcity. When you live in abundance, you get abundance. Since I started this career, I was 19 years old. I had nothing, nothing. I didn't come from nothing. My mom didn't even want me. My dad was crippled. I came literally from nothing. And my mindset was that God put me here to win. God put me here to succeed. God put me here. There's a reason why I'm here. I don't know what it is. I can't see it. It's not written to me. I didn't get an email or a note that says, Joe Lombardi, you're here because of XYZ. I have a belief in my soul that I'm here to help people. I believe that what has happened to me in my life is a warning for everybody listening and watching that these things can and will happen. Well, death is guaranteed. Disability, 25% to 50% chance depending on what field you're in. Can you imagine flipping a coin twice, and if it lands on heads twice, you're crippled for the rest of your life? So, and then you have long-term care. Well, you would be lucky to have long-term care. So if you don't need long-term care, that means you died before you got old. So if you understand how everything is set up, your why is the most important thing. And if you speak it into existence, it works. My whole life changed when I joined Amway. And I didn't sell anything, no worry. I didn't go door to door, didn't sell any soap or any of that BS. What I did is I listened to the Double Diamond CDs. The Double Diamond CDs, I know CDs, I'm aging myself. See, these CDs would be people that were very rich, would go on stage in the company, and they were the top sales guys in the world for a multi-billion-dollar company. And they would tell you, speak it to existence, make that extra phone call, grind it out. You're enough. Love yourself, right? The problem with most people is they don't love themselves.
Yeah.
Not only they don't even like themselves, let alone love themselves. And if you don't love yourself, why do you think someone's going to love you? If you don't like yourself, why do you think someone's going to like you? If you don't think you're the best at what you do, when the next person you talk to, why are they going to think you're the best fit for them? It really comes down to self-belief. It's having a thought. A thought breeds what? A thought breeds a goal, right? Because if it's in my brain, it's a dream. I write it down, it's a goal. Okay. Then from the goal is action, actionable things to achieve that goal. So it all starts with mindset. If you think you can, you will. If you think you can't, you won't. Either way, you're right. The little engine that could, right? So if you understand that that's how all of this life is, if I used to tell people when I was new in the business, I'm one of the best financial advisors there is. I had like 3 clients. I would be like, oh, I'm a millionaire. I had like $2,000 in my account. I would always speak it into existence. And then what happens is your conscious mind is training your subconscious mind, right? Is anybody here thinking about breathing? No. Your heartbeat? Are you making your heartbeat right now? Beat, beat, beat. No. Your subconscious mind is controlling your life right now. So if you train your subconscious mind that you're a winner, you are the best at what you do, you deserve it, you are worthy of wealth, you are worthy of love, guess what happens? You get love, you get wealth, you grow. I'm not better than anybody on the listeners here. We're all God's children. We're all created equal. We all have the same opportunities, whether you're black, white, brown, red, transgender, doesn't matter. You all have the same opportunities to succeed. All of you can be millionaires if you believe it. You work hard, you stop complaining, you take all that negative energy in your life, you get rid of it. Friends that are holding you back, you say get lost. Spouses that aren't bringing you value, you say bye-bye. And you care about yourself. Not to be a selfish, egotistical prick, but to make yourself better so you could be a better father. You could be a better husband. You could be a better business owner. You could be a better salesman. You could be a better nurse, whatever it is that you do, because it all stems to your belief system, how you look at the world, right? There's something called anxiety and there's something called excitement. They're the exact same emotion. Just one is you are happy about the thing that's happening that you're unaware of, or one is you're unhappy with the thing that is happening that you're unaware of. So it's going deep into yourself. It's curing the hole that we all have, all our childhood traumas. It's curing it's a lot. But you know what's just nice? Buying a new 2024 Navigator in cash for my wife, $130,000 check. There you go. Didn't even need credit. You know what's nice? Living in a big ass house where my kids get to have their own space in a safe neighborhood and a great school system in one of the safest towns in Connecticut on a cul-de-sac with a bunch of older people. So it's a really quiet neighborhood. So peace is the best thing there is. Peace financially, peace spiritually, emotionally, physically. It's deep. There is no pill that's going to cure you. There is no, if I just invest in IUL, you're going to be rich. No, there's a lot more that goes to it, as Richard was colluding to, opening up a corporation, having a good attorney, having a good lawyer, having a good financial planner, making sure your plan makes sense, alleviating taxation, having downside protection, diversifying your risk. There's a lot that goes into it that the average person just says, I don't deserve it. It's too much. I don't care. God will take care of me. It's like, well, if you ask something from God, he usually doesn't give it to you, but you know what he does give you? The ability to get it. So if I said, hey, God, I want to be thin, do you think God's going to come down and go, and all of a sudden snap his fingers and you're thin? No, he'll make sure you meet a physical therapist, a personal trainer, a friend that just learned a new style of working out, and he's going to give you the tools to get thin. You got to do the work. He's going to give you the tools to become wealthy. You have to do the work. That's where the average American is extremely lazy, and they rather try to get something for nothing than work hard to achieve a goal.
Yeah. All right, Joseph. So let me ask you a question. If me and you were walking down the street in Connecticut and we stopped 100 people and asked them how many people knows what the NBA is, or the NFL, NHL, NCAA, but then we asked them, how many of you guys know what the RAS is? I guarantee you less than 1 out of 100 persons is going to know what the RAS system is. And we all have it. And I learned it from Tony Robbins, Ed Milet, Tim Ferriss. The reticular activating system. Whatever you look for, whatever your mind looks for, and it's going to find, whether it's success or whether it's failure. So talk about that, because a lot of people, like I said, they might know who's playing the NFL, but they don't even know their own RAS system they have in their own brain.
Yeah, I mean, the RAS system, I went through Tony Robbins. So that's like if you own a red car, you start noticing all the other red cars. If you own a Nissan, you'll start noticing all the Nissans. Even if you didn't see them before you bought the Nissan, you didn't notice them. So it's what you program your brain to look for. If you look for problems, which most Americans are, they're all these Karens and people that just love the negativity. Guess what you're going to find? Negativity. If you look at positivity, abundance, you're the best, you're worth it. I'm looking for other successful people. Guess what? You're going to find other successful people that you're going to be able to build with and grow with and network with and create strategic alliances with. That's what Ironhawk Financial did. I got rid of the gambling out of my life. I put Jesus in my life. I changed everything that I was doing. I stopped living for today. I started living for tomorrow. And I'm looking to build a business for my 3 children to come work at. And I'm looking to build a national name, Ironhawk Financial, which I'm doing a great job at. Google it. I've done a lot. So if you think you are something, if you feel that you can't do something, if you want to identify problems, especially in marriages, right? Both, husband and wife do this, right? When me and my wife were like, oh, well, you do this wrong. Okay, well, I guess we're playing that game. Then I started saying, well, you do that wrong. And all it was is we'd just tell each other what a shitty person we are, excuse my French. And that's all that ended up happening. Until we said, let's see what's the value. Let's see what you're doing good at. Let's compliment your wins instead of pointing out your losses. The whole dynamic of my marriage changed. The whole dynamic of my children changed. When I was always pointing out my son for eating too much snacks or being lazy, right? Now, in his mind, say, well, I guess I'm just a guy who's going to be fat and lazy because that's what my dad tells me. Instead of saying, hey, you did a great job on that test. I really saw you went outside and you practiced basketball. That was awesome. Now that's training the kid to say, oh, I'm an athlete. I'm going to work hard. It's the same thing in life. And you do it with yourself. Right? If you look in the mirror and you're like, oh, you're a fat pig, like I used to do. Guess what I was and became? A fat pig. If I looked in the mirror and I said, you know what? I'm better than I was yesterday. I'm growing. I can envision me having a six-pack again, right? It changes your whole mindset. You don't go to McDonald's. You have these stupid MRE shakes, protein shakes. You have these different protein bars.
Show me that shake again.
MRE protein shake, best thing I've ever had.
Actually, I helped Redcon One become the first fitness company in GNC. I actually helped Aaron Singerman and Redcon One to become what they are today.
That's awesome, man. But it's like it's making those choices, and life is a snowball. Life is a wave. If you're doing the right thing, the wave keeps growing. I mean, I built a company in literally 3 months from $0 revenue to we opened up $5 million of revenue. You know what that company's called? Oh, yeah, Ironhawk Financial. And it was now I have CPAs, accountants, elder law attorneys. I work with the #1 estate attorney in Glastonbury, Connecticut, that refers me business to do $10 million second to dies where there's $300,000 of commission per deal. Like that's the type of positivity and snowball effects that can happen by you just busting your butt, working through it. Not if you spend all your time thinking you can instead of doing, you're not going to. If you just say, I have a plan, let's execute it now, right? Do not procrastinate. And I know all this is easier said than done. But if you can do that, I can guarantee you to be better off tomorrow than you are today in every facet of your life. Spiritually, financially, physically, mentally, emotionally, you're going to be in a way better position. You're going to start liking yourself. Then guess what? You're going to start loving yourself. Can you imagine looking in the mirror and being like, I love that dude, without being a conceited, egotistical, narcissistic person, but just saying, I love who that person is. Not that I'm better than anybody else, because I'm equal. Whether I have $10 million in the bank and you have $20, or you have a six-pack and I have a gut, or you have a hot wife and my wife's okay, or you drive a Lambo and I drive a Jaguar, none of that matters to me. What matters is, are you respectful? Are you kind? Do I like you? Do I trust you? And then when you surround yourself with those type of people, you're creating your own mastermind. You know that thing you pay Tony Robbins and Sean Callaghan and all these people boatloads of money for? You can create your own for free. So it's just doing those things and having a why. And if your why is money, you will be broke. Your why has to be strong. My why is I saw what happened to my mom, my dad, my grandmother, and I am going to do everything I can to make sure it doesn't happen to anybody else. And having that passion and desire and energy to motivate, protect, help. And then on top of it, if I can get the government out of your pocket, which it was definitely theft, it's slavery. And if I could free slaves, like I feel great knowing I have thousands of people that aren't being taken advantage of by their state, federal, and local municipalities to exploit them, steal their money, and bring them no value in return.
I love it. So let me ask you a question, because I'm a coach and I coach people that want to be high earners. And the first question I ask them is, well, let me see your vision board. Most of the time they don't have one.
Nope.
Or I say, well, let me see your screensaver on your phone. And it might be a basketball player. It might be a football player. like for me, my screensaver on my phone for the last 10 years has actually been Atlantis in the Bahamas and a cruise ship. I've never been on a cruise, but I'm going on my second cruise to Atlanta this year. I mean, Atlantis this year. In about 8 days, I'll be in the Bahamas. But
Nice.
because it was on my vision board and I seen it every day, I let my RAS work for me. So talk
Yes.
about how important it is to have a vision board, even if it's not just your phone or maybe something in your office that when you look at every day and you see, it becomes part of your mindset, right?
Yeah, I mean, a vision board is sort of like, let's say you had to go to California. I'm in Connecticut. Would I just hop in my car and go? Or would I check my tires? Would I check my ARP? Would I make sure I have roadside assistance? Would I check hotel prices? Would I check a plan if I have to drive there that I'm going to be traffic? I'm going to have a nice ride. I'm going to see some sightseeing on the way there, right? A vision board gives you your destination. Where are you going? And then when you get to that, I'm going to California, the vision board is going to remind you, oh yeah, I have to make sure my tire pressure on my car is all set. I have to make sure I have a spare tire. I have to make sure I start pricing out hotels, right? When you have that vision, you are seeing the destination, right? Richard's destination was what? Being on a boat in an island. Well, that's great, but he can't just snap his fingers and get there. So he has to figure out, how do I what's the money I'm going to need? What type of year should I leave? When's the cheapest or most efficient way to get there? What day of the month? What day of the season? What day of the year? When is the best time to be in the tropics? When's the water the less choppiest? I don't want to go during hurricane season, right? So those are all the things that once you have your destination or your vision board, you then can dictate, how do I get there the safest way?
And one thing, like I know you guys won't be able to see this picture, but it's a picture of me and my wife standing on a. I can't even say the name. That's how much of a low tech redneck I am. We're standing on a whole steps of Swarovski crystals in a 5-star cruise ship line. I'm a ninth grade dropout. And I often have that imposter syndrome where I think I shouldn't be there. But then I also think back to, Aaron and Moses. Aaron was the one that was supposed to be able to speak so well. Moses was the one that was called. So I think once God calls you to something, there's no way you can fail. I think sometimes you just have to listen for that still small voice. What are your thoughts?
I think it really comes down to belief in yourself, having direction where you're trying to go. And when you are at the top, celebrate, acknowledge, right? Those are the things that are going to keep you going. You don't want to burn yourself out. You got to have things that you can do to celebrate and look back at, of why I'm in the trenches for 12, 14-hour days. I don't have to be, but I want to be leading my team. A good team leader is somebody who's there with them, pulling them, not behind them with a whip, telling them what to do. And those are the type of mental, I don't even know the right word. Those are the things you have to have in your repertoire to get to where you want to be.
And I had a conversation with a guy, some guy. He wrote a book or two. His name was Dan Sullivan, and something that he got me motivated to do is between October of this year and October next year, I'm taking 180 days off of work. But I know I'm going to be more successful because I'm taking more time off. So not only can I relax and rejuvenate, but I can also think, because the book, it's called Think and Grow Rich. It's not called Work and Grow Rich, Hustle, Grow Rich, Work Till You're Dead and Grow Rich. It's Think and Grow Rich. So how important do you think is to take time to shut off the phones, shut off the computers, and just have time for prayer, meditation, and being able to think?
Well, what you're describing is working on your business, not in your business. You have to do both. If you're a race car driver, you have to make sure that you are learning how to take the turns right, the degrees, but you also have to make sure that your car doesn't have flat tires. You change the tires, it has its oil pressure, right? So if you only work in your business, your race car can run out of oil, overheat, break down, and you can be the best driver in the world, but if you don't have a car to get to where you want to go, it makes no difference. And you don't want to spend all your time working on your business because you could build the nicest race car in the world with luxury this and supercharger that and exhaust and headers and intakes and this and that. But if you can't have anyone to drive it, what's the point of building that? So what you're referring to is having the ability to work in your business and on your business. And your business doesn't have to be a company. Your business could be, hey, I work for this law firm. I work for, this company. I'm helping building somebody else's dream. But that's where the side hustle comes in. That's where you ideally want to build something your own, because if you're not building your dream, you're building somebody else's dream. And you want to make sure that every day you're still building your dream, even if it's for 20 minutes a day or an hour a day, because there will be a time when you can't have the opportunity to do what I do, which I spend 12 to 14 hours a day building my dream. And my dream is to have a company that has 100,000 advisors, that's growing, that all use my strategy, my ethics, my morals, my codes, the different designs that I have, which are superior in the marketplace to my competitors. Those are the things that I envision and work towards every single day. And I was able to get here with the support of my wife to make sure my children are safe and happy and healthy. And have what they need. And I have the resources with the dollars to make sure she can do that. But it's having a team, it's having a partner, it's having belief in yourself. And it's very deep, but it all starts with a why. That's what it all starts with. Why do I want to do X, whatever it is? And if your why is strong enough and you have enough positivity and belief in yourself and you bring God into your life, Jesus or whoever your God is, to help you with it, always having a friend in your back pocket is really nice.
And and I always tell everybody, guys, if you don't know what your why is, look up Dean Graziosi and 7 Whys. If you do that and you find out your why, you cannot, you cannot fail. But you mentioned it just a minute ago. Like, I'm going on my cruise in about a week or 8 days, and we purposely said we're not going to have any internet for 8 days, no internet. But I know when I get back from my cruise, I'm going to have money in my bank because I have evergreen products that are on sale 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. But my team will be working while I'm on vacation drinking virgin pina coladas. So how important it is to build a team, because you can't, one person never can win an NBA championship or an NFL championship. It all comes down to team. So how important is it to build a team?
Well, let's just put it this way. I was the business for 20 years. When I created a business where it's training, motivating, educating other agents that are licensed in what I do, and meeting with them Monday, Wednesday, Friday, every single week, motivating them, teaching them what I do, why I do it, getting them leads, investing money in love and time and energy. When I was away on vacation last week, I was in the Poconos with my wife. We went 5 days, Monday through Friday, and during those 5 days, my company generated $700,000 of commission. So that was the eye opener to say, yeah, it's working, because I wasn't there. And I set up a closer, I set up an opener, I got the leads coming in. We're rolling over millions and millions of dollars a week of 401ks and IRAs and the fixed index annuities. And it's awesome, man. It's pretty cool to, really believe in yourself. And I would say if you are the business, your first step would say, well, if you're sick, what revenue are you making? If you're on vacation, what revenue are you making? If the answer is zero, you do not have a business. You have a U that you're using a DBA, a doing business as, which is not a business. You need to create a business when you're not there. It's still generating revenue and things are getting done with or without you there.
I love it. And I got a friend, he's in that position. He tells me, Rich, I'm known, everybody knows who I am. So when I take a day off, or if my car's not there, people aren't coming in. He's like, now I just own my job. He's like, I don't own a business. I just own my job. So, this is a teaching podcast. My perfect avatar is a 45-year-old male, father, veteran, father of three, veteran, brand new business owner, named Craig, and I named him. Yes, I did name my perfect avatar. Um, if there's a guy or girl out there getting out of the military, wants to start their own business in October of 2024, what would be your top three pieces of advice?
Talk to Richard Kaufman, number one. Number two is make sure they start building their own bank, having a foundation. You when you're building anything, you want to have a strong foundation, whether it's a marriage, whether it's a business, whether it's a relationship with another business person or a personal acquaintance. You want to have a strong foundation. Number three is probably knowing your why in and out, right? So if you have somebody like Richard on your side, yeah, you're starting to build a foundation, know the tools you need to have, build an overfunded IUL, roll over your existing IRA or 401k, invest in yourself, but also invest in your future. But make sure you know why you're doing it, because it's not easy. Okay. Do you know how many businesses fail every single day in the United States? So it's not easy. Okay. So you have to make sure your why is strong enough. So when you're out ready to cry, you're in so much pain emotionally, physically, you're tired. You're like, this isn't working. Everything, all this time and energy I'm putting into it, money and ads and Facebook ads and this, that, it's not working. I'm a loser. I'm a failure. Your why will come out and say, shut up. You got this. And that is all you need, because the only way in life not to fail is to not quit. You can't lose if you don't quit. If you're still playing the game, you still could win. You cannot win if you quit the game.
Okay, I have a question from one of the listeners. His name is Frank. He says, Joseph, I just started my own landscape company. I don't have a lot of money coming in. So how do I start with very little money to start doing some of the things you asked that you talked about?
Yeah, I work with over 1,000 blue collar business owners. So number one is just the way like I did it. I started chasing trucks on the highway. So I started driving 100 miles an hour on I-95, and no, I'm not telling anyone to break the speeding laws. That's just what I did. And I got behind 123 Electric, ABC Plumbing, 123 Landscaping. And I would say, hey, my father was JV Lombardi Builders. He fell 3 stories off a ladder. He lost a $25 million construction company. Can I buy you a cup of coffee and make sure it doesn't happen to you? My nickname was the dog because I used to chase trucks, right? So find strategic partners. They're free. So if I'm a landscaper, I'm going to try and find a contractor, a GC. If there's a Toll Brothers, if there's another developer in your town or in your area, I'm going to go to them and I'm going to first work for dirt cheap. So he hires me. And then I'm going to learn everything. I'm going to meet anybody that's in his network. I'm going to build strategic alliances and relationships, because guess who is the best person to get business from? Is it a stranger, or is it, let's say, a Mason who happens to be at 123 Cherry Street and the woman says, yeah, we're actually looking for some landscaping. Well, if you built a relationship with that Mason can say, oh, I know this guy's got a great landscaping company. Here's his phone number. My biggest deal ever came from an estate attorney where I made about $600,000 of commission on one deal, because the estate attorney, the guy said, oh, I need a second to die trust. I have $5-6 million I need rolled over into an IRA. Guess what? My estate attorney that I have a relationship said, you got to call Joe Lombardi at Ironhawk. When you have that in from somebody already doing business with, it's already sold. You just walk in and the deal's done. So build strategic alliances with other people that are meeting and working with your avatar. So when that time comes where they need your perfect avatar, they can tee you up and then pay them. Say, hey, Bob, thanks for that referral. I made $3,000. I'm paying you 10%. Here's $300 for you thinking of me. Oh no, I don't need the money. No, take it, because the next time he's going to say, oh yeah, because he's going to meet other landscapers. So then you build strategic alliances with other companies. And not only that, you pay them. So I pay out a lot of people legally for referrals. And I get so many referrals. How do you think I have thousands of clients? Because I've talked to 10,000 people? No, because I was referred to probably 1,000 of those 2,000 people.
And yeah, that's something I think a lot of people, they need to hear what you just said, because, and I went on my cruise July 4th. I was in the Bahamas. And when we got there, I overtipped everybody. My whole wait staff, the people that cleaned my room, everybody got overtipped. And the whole stay we were there, they put us on the Trump table where we had our own big table. We got triples and quadruples of everything for the whole time. Just because when I got there, I overtipped, and then when I left, I overtipped. And I think people, like you said, they do want to help you, but if you're like, I have a friend, he's like, I won't accept your money, and I'm like, okay, but I knew one of his favorite bands was Kiss, so I went out and I bought him an Ace Frehley guitar because I knew that, hey, his favorite band was Kiss. He won't let me give him any money, so I'm going to go do something for him that nobody else has ever done. So talk about how it is, especially in business, but in personal relationships, to actually build relationships and not just being transactional, but being relational.
Yeah, I have a similar story. I had a client who wouldn't accept any money. I knew his favorite team was the Minnesota Vikings, so I bought him a Justin Jefferson signed jersey, framed it for like $800, and I mailed it to him. And when I tell you that I got the nicest call I've ever had in my life, it was better than if I gave him 10 grand. Because not only is the money's cool, but when you have money, money isn't that important. But when somebody does something to show how much they care about what you on a deeper level, because we don't do that anymore as Americans. It's screw you, what's in it for me. So when you go out of your way to do those little things, it goes a long way in business. I'm telling you. When I have deep conversations with my clients, they're like, nobody's ever talked to me like this, and since my mom when I was 16 years old. I'm almost like a financial therapist sometimes. But yeah, so to get back to to what you're saying, it really comes down to going above and beyond and putting your personal touch on it and showing people, because talk is cheap. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie is one saying I live by. And then men lie, women lie, but actions don't lie is the second thing I live by. So if somebody tells you something but does something else, listen to the actions, not the words. So, there's tons of different ways that you can grow your business, build strategic alliances, go out of your way to help other people. And I'm telling you, it's karma. If you do the right thing, it comes back to you. If you do the wrong thing, it comes back to you. Everything in life's a boomerang. You get what you give. And make sure on every part of your life, you are trying to give value. You're trying to be helpful. You're not trying to hurt anybody. And I promise you, if you do that long enough, you will have a great life.
I love it. So what's going on in the next 6 to 12 months with Joe and Ironhawk? What's going on now?
Explosion, volcanic explosion growth. I have my recruiter set up. I have my ads guy set up. I have my SEO guy set up. I was just at WSFB Channel 3 News, Gray Media today. About to get my FAQ videos done. My radio show's booming. My agents are growing. I tweaked my ads where I'm only talking to people with $5 to $10 million in net worth. So my average case now I'm opening is between $150,000 and $800,000 a commission each. I'm on track next year to do $50 million in net revenue. So it's just growth. Just keep pouring love on it. Keep throwing lighter fluid on it. Keep blowing on it. Let this thing grow as fast as I can, and make sure that the people I'm with are with me, and show them love and live by, hey, first time you do something wrong, shame on you. Second time you do something wrong, shame on me. And having standards and ethics and self-worth and morals. And if you live your life like that and you have a dream and it's growing, like, it is the best feeling in the world. And that's what I'll be doing over the next year. 100%.
So how do we get in your ecosystem? How do we pick up your books? And if we want to hire you on, how do we do that?
Yeah, so if anybody wants my books, absolutely free. My two Forbes articles, one written by a certified financial planner, or one written by a certified public accountant on my strategy. The articles I've been featured in, the 40 under 40 articles, everything. Just write an email to joe@ironhawkfinancial.com and just put free books. That's all you got to do. joe@ironhawkfinancial.com. That's Joe at Joe at iron like the metal, hawk like the bird, financial.com. Just put free books and I will send you all the books. There's going to be no strings attached. It's all through PDF. So you don't have to send me your address. A lot of people send me addresses. I just send them PDF. I can do it in 3 minutes, tonight before I go to bed. And anybody that wants to have a meeting with me, you can go to www.ironhawkfinancial.com, contact us, or you can write me an email to say, hey, I would like to meet with you, and I'll send you my Calendly link where you could book a meeting. I never charged a client $1 in 20 years, never lost a client $1 in 20 years. My main goal is to build you tax-free, legal, sue-proof, divorce-proof, can't lose, averaging 15% tax-free rate of retirement accounts that you can lean and leverage to protect you and your family and your business. And it'll take me an hour. And then if you already have existing qualified money, IRAs, 401k, SEP simples, I can 1035 exchange, transfer, or roll over that money free of taxes, penalties, or fees into a fixed index annuity IRA, which you can't lose in that either. So a lot of people are looking for safe ways because the market has a lot of risk right now. And depending who's going to be president is a big indicator whether we go to World War III or our economy gets crashed. So those are the things that if you want to reach out to me, you could follow me on everything. If you want to list at Ironhawk Financial or Ironhawk Financial _official. And if you want to listen to my radio show, you go to Brushwood Media Group, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Android Podcasts. It's on 100 different Apple apps and Android. Money Talk with Ironhawk. And that is with me and my host, Eliza Diane. And we have accountants, CPAs, attorneys. We had the Secret Service guy from Trump and Biden come on our show 2 weeks before Trump got shot the first time. So there's a lot of different people I bring on to keep it fresh. So if you like podcasts, or this is actually a radio show, if you like listening to something while you're doing something else, it's Money Talk with Ironhawk on everything.
I love it. So that's normally my last question, but because it's you, I got one more question. We're living in a crazy world. Ever since COVID, I had one of my good friends, Iron Chef Simon Majumdar on, and he said, since COVID happened, we've lost over 100,000 restaurants in the United States. So we have a lot of people driving Uber, DoorDash, just to put food on the table. So if I ask the average person to do something in 7 days, they're never going to get to it. But if I ask somebody that's listening to do something in 24 hours, they're more than likely to do it. So if somebody right now is out there struggling with their faith, what can they do in the next 24 hours to find some peace?
If it's financial, you have to have a budget. Number one is you have to tell every dollar where it's going, why it's going there. Because if you don't have a budget, your dollar is going to tell you what they want to do, and it's usually not going to be in your long-term benefit. So number one is have a budget. Number two is get out of debt. Debt is cancer, right? So by writing out a strategy to get out of debt, the easiest way to do it, Microsoft Excel, we'll put 1 through 31, what your debt is, your fixed debt, your optional debt, how much you spend on food, all that can be done in less than an hour. If you want to write it down on a piece of paper because you don't have a computer or Excel, then what you do is just write 1 through 31 on a piece of paper, a lined piece of paper, and you put down what the bill is, my rent, my electric bill, my gas bill. You figure out how much you pay on gas. You log into your bank, your online banking system through your phone or your computer, and you see how much am I spending on food? How much am I spending on gas? How much am I spending at the grocery store? Can I instead of buying $5 or Starbucks coffee, which used to be $5, now it's probably like $8. Instead of buying that, can I make 30-cent Keurig coffee? Right. So it's those little changes you can do over time, which put thousands of dollars in your pocket every year. Then you take those thousands of dollars that you were wasting for minor conveniences, and then you can build yourself a nice big pile of cash in your own bank where you then can start leaning and levying and leveraging that money to invest in yourself or your business in the future.
Okay, now what if somebody is looking for some spiritual peace? What is
Ooh,
something they can
spiritual.
do in the next 24 hours?
So spiritually, you want to make sure that you have a Bible. You want to make sure that, like, I have the Bible apps on my phone, so I
Yep,
don't even
me
need a
too.
Bible. I just have the app.
Me too.
And what I do is I pray every day for health and wealth for my children, my wife, and myself. And when I say wealth, it doesn't mean dollars. Wealth means wisdom. Wealth means I'm doing the right thing. Wealth means I'm following God and why I'm here. I believe right now that God has put me here for a direct reason, and I'm in God's energy. And when you're in God's energy, man, it fills that hole that we all have. It really does. Oh, my mom didn't love me. Oh, I was bullied as a kid. Oh, I was sexually assaulted by my sister's boyfriend when I was 15. All that crap I personally went through. It's God's there in my heart, and I'm not that little kid anymore. And so pray, sit down and pray, talk to him. If we're all crazy and God doesn't exist, what's the worst thing that can happen? If we're all right and God's exist, what's the worst thing that can happen? Ask yourself those two questions.
Yeah.
So you have to understand that if you talk to God and you put him as your higher power, it is first of all, if you put money as your higher power, that's the devil, right? You should never worship money. So you want to make sure God's your higher power. If you put God as your high, I made more money in the last 12 months, and I've made millions in years when money was my God. When I made Jesus Christ my God, now I have a business. I have 20 soldiers that believe in my vision, what I do, how I do it every day. So if there's something you can do in 24 hours is pray. If you don't know how to pray, just close your eyes and talk to him and say, hey, if assuming God was real, what would I say to him? Right? If you don't have a full belief system, because again, God has been taken out of our socioeconomic or culture, and the devil has been put in. So you've been worshiping the devil. How far has it gotten you right now? So make sure you put God as your high and talk to him. That's what you can do in the next 24 hours. Download the Bible app. Start reading the Bible. They have audio ones where they'll read me one passage a day. It'll take you like 9 years to read the
Yeah.
Bible. But even if it's 30 seconds to 2 minutes a day reading a passage, it's going to get you involved to have a relationship with God. Mine is Jesus Christ. And if you have that relationship, it's going to improve your life in all facets. And it has for me. I'm sure it has for Richard, or he wouldn't bring it up. And I'm sure it happened to millions of people that still have God in their heart. But unfortunately, the majority of people right now don't have God in our heart. They have drugs, alcohol, sex, money as in their heart, and they took God out. So if you put God in there, you get all that fun stuff, right? It's just you're not worshiping that, you're worshiping Jesus. So get a Bible app and pray and talk to him every day.
I love it. And guys, if you ever get a chance, they have an Audible version, and it's James Earl Jones reading the Bible to you. So if you ever get a chance, that's one I listen to, and it's amazing listening to Darth Vader read the Bible to you. So definitely check that on Audible, guys. So, brother, I just want to say I'm truly humbled and grateful to be able to hang out with you today.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, man. I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to come on your platform.
I love it. So I want to thank the Exposure Maven. Without you guys, we wouldn't be together. I want to thank Monster Energy. And guys, the new swag that came, look, it says I win. And what that means is if you listen to this show, you are no longer a victim of your past, but you're a victor of your present and your future. Thank you guys for always showing up. Make sure you get the new winter swag. Everybody's getting them. Make sure you get yours. And 100% of the proceeds go to help end veteran suicide and homelessness. So I love you guys. Have an amazing day. Joseph, my brother, hopefully we can build a generational relationship from this moment on.
Yes, sir.
I love you. And guys, remember, vertical momentum. The only way to go is up. I love you guys. Have a great week.